Hello everyone, this is Fireally and Smartdevon, and welcome back to the Mysteries of Hyrule. In this episode, we are going to cover Skyloft. Skyloft might not be the only sky continent, for lack of a better term, because we have lots of tiny little islands, Beetle has his own. And so it's possible that there's more than just Beetle that have, a cluster or an island that's big enough to house a house.
Now let's talk about some of the evidence behind this theory. Well, there is a Knight Academy in Skyloft. It teaches swordsmanship, which seems like a very useful skill unless you consider the fact that the only monsters on Skyloft are Choo-Choos, Teeth, and Remlets during the night.
I mean, come on, the one of the graduate knights decided he was going to use his skills to cut down a giant bamboo. So
there's those large birds in the Thunderhead, but the only monster, you can't, you need two hands to ride a Loftwing, so you wouldn't even be able to use a sword against them.
Because of that's why they teach the spin technique, which would imply that these birds have attacked Skyloft before, so they probably live around, the Thunderhead when it expanded and consumed their island because Levias getting parasited and expanding it himself, or whatever have you happened there. There's a lot of theories on that. When it expands, it closes off their nest, and so then they don't attack Skyloft anymore.
So basically, we got this really cool fan video. We like it. It was made a couple years ago, and it gives us a little bit of background on Skyloft, saying a lot of people died because there was a big plague. Go watch the video. It's wonderful, and it might make you cry.
It outright says these flying bird things are why the Knight Academy exists, because they're viewed as an actual threat.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from, picking up people that fall off the side of the sky.
Yeah.
I feel like
the problem
that'd be a
is,
really boring job to circle Skyloft forever.
Yeah, it would.
Gonna drop.
That would be so monotonous. Like, I went through 4 years of Knight Academy for this.
Or even worse if you're on night duty. I have to wait for sleepwalking people. Who's got Link?
Now, it's possible that once you train hard enough and you get to be a good enough knight, you can learn to ride a Loftwing with one hand, and Link's just not that good. I know it's hard to believe, Link's just not that good, but then you would be able to use a sword against those bird things that we can't remember the name of.
Well,
but to be honest,
he doesn't really use his Loftwing all that much. He uses it mainly for transportation. He only learned to fight with it when he absolutely had to.
Yeah. And to be honest, other than these bird things and the Choo-Choos and the Keys, there's really not a whole lot of a use for swordsmanship in the academy. So why are they teaching this? Well, why are they teaching science at our school? I'd like to think that the reason they're teaching swordsman skills is because there is another threat aside from monsters that they're learning to combat themselves with. It took us a long time to get here, but another Sky Island, Sky Nation, that might go to war with them, they're not sure. That's why they're training up an army.
They found the Okos, and they're shooting cannonballs.
Yes, the Uka, are actually another nation. We lied to you in the last theory. They're another Sky Nation that are completely obliterating Skyloft, and so 20 years ago they decided, or 25, is that it? They decided we need to actually learn to fight. Yeah,
that's the other thing, is there had to have been like a major event to even have the Knight Academy. Because, it's so young. Like, come on, Skyloft's been there for hundreds of years, and then all of a sudden, 25 years before Link is born, he's probably, somewhere between, 14 and 18 is his age. Probably, 15, 16 is my guess.
I'd pitch him at 17. I think that's, a good teenage Link age.
However old you headcanon Link, that still means that the Academy was nearly
a couple
single digits old when he was born. There had to have been a good reason, and so this theory kind of backs it up, because people, they might get mad at how Skyloft is run. Maybe they hate eating pumpkins, they want to grow radishes, they get into a huge civil war over it, they leave, and they're like, maybe we should be ready to defend ourselves, just in case. Wait a minute, how do they even have swords? When did they have iron on that island?
Maybe there's just a bunch of iron ores just floating around the sky.
Maybe. I don't even know. Maybe it came out of the storm head. We have no idea. Anyway, the other possibility is there's rogue knights out there. I mean, again, we have Beetle who got fed up with Skyloft and likes to live on his own. However, he has to make a living. I don't know why he would need to make money unless there was another trade network out there.
Buy pumpkin soup, I guess. That seems to be the only source of food in Skyloft, so.
Yeah, it's like, you can buy pumpkins, things from Beetle, and potions. I don't
Anything
think
at the
Beetle
bazaar.
has any use for potions. He might have, like, the Tinker Shop guy work on a few things here and there. The only useful thing Beetle would have for making money is food, which I'm pretty sure he has a lot of, because those things are expensive.
Let me
Unless
ask,
Link is his
why does,
only customer.
Why does Ruben from the item shop sell shields? To the public, nonetheless.
Knight Academy students.
You don't need a shield to kill a choo-choo. No one needs a shield to kill a choo-choo.
I don't know, you can kill choo-choos with a shield in Breath of the Wild.
You can, but you don't need one. Well, let's invent shields in case someone wants to kill a choo-choo without a sword. Or I guess because the public can't use swords, he gives them shields to
That
protect
is a
themselves.
good question. Why would anyone in the sky need a shield? Because even if they had a bird attack, I don't
That
think a
shield won't
would
protect you from a bird.
Yeah, it's like
The
you're
most
too busy
use you'll
piloting
get out
and
of that
swinging your
shield.
one-armed sword to care about your shield at all.
The most you'll ever get out of that shield is punishing your remlet when it gets cranky.
So there's that mystery there. But then again, Ruben is creepy. Like,
He's the one selling the shields.
well, there's the theory that Ruben, is the Happy Mask salesman. Yeah, does he just, like, sell the shields from the scrap shop guy? Because he's the only one that knows how to fix them. And he's the only one that
Ruben
can make them
sells-
better.
Ruben sells goddess shields. Where is he getting goddess shields?
That's true.
And I'll also mention that the item fix guy, let me look up his name real
But it's
quick.
like, where does Happy Mask Salesman get his masks from? He kills people for them. So I'm willing to bet that there is something weird with Ruben. And he buys materials at night, so maybe he has magic powers because he's a Happy Mask Salesman.
Gondo, that's the fix-it guy. Gondo asks for lots of items when you want to upgrade your gear. Most of these items you cannot find in Skyloft. How do they even know they exist if Skyloft is the only world
There's
they
probably
know?
books and stuff about the surface because they know about that much, so it probably explains some of the floral stuff you see there.
But if you've never been to the surface, and no one has in hundreds of years, are you really going to open a shop that requires people to bring you items from the surface just in case?
Maybe he saw an opportunity. I mean, he kept the robot. He had the robot.
He has yeah. Don't ask me where he got that thing, but I think we've
remember he
established.
said that his grandfather believed in the surface, and he did as well. And they did a lot of research and insight into it, and everyone thought they were crazy.
I think we've thoroughly established that there pretty much has to be other sky islands from Skyloft and what we see in Skyward Sword. We do know there is at least one demon in the sky that people are scared of, and that is Beatrox, or however you pronounce his name. Beeswax, I'll call him. Maybe one of these other sky nations is a sky island full of beeswaxes. Then that would justify the creation of a Knight Academy, because they're scared of beeswax. I think it's Batrox, because he has bat wings. Batrox, that's it. Or Batro. Oh, I confused myself again.
I have no idea. But the biggest problem is he's the only member of his demon species, and if you look in the original thing with Fee, that's where you figure out, you see
It's
Gearheim in there, you see the Happy Mask Salesman in there, but you also see Bertrix in there. And the interesting thing is, he actually turns his head away from Demise when they're all like doing the scream thing. And he's the only one that's in Skyloft, period. So maybe he defected and decided to go join the enemy because he found them more favorable than Demise.
Batro, the renegade demon. Oh, I want to see a game about this guy.
The other possibility of having the Knight Academy is Bertrix. They make swords and shields for the day he comes out to attack them, and the day never comes. The weird thing is, though, is it seems like he gets there recently. Like, the house is all like spider webs and stuff, which, if you look at that video we mentioned earlier, they show that house as being Link's, and so when he moved on, it was just kind of abandoned. He recently starts actively like engaging with the people of Skyloft, which kind of points fingers at he got there recently somehow. Like,
while we're on Batro, yeah, you can in the game turn him into a human by giving him enough gratitude crystals, and he'll go mingle with the people of the bazaar. And no one bats an eye that this random guy that they've never seen before is now just hanging around the bazaar. It always bothered me that Skyloft had such a low population because there's really not enough people for shops to maintain themselves.
And there's also like only 20 graves there. They've been there as long as they have. Like, either somebody seriously like slam hammered the reproduction value of people, or like the deaths, they know they have limited ground, and that kind of moves into another theory we have here, which we'll talk about later. There's also the possibility that Chancellor Cole is descended from him because he's got horns, 2 horns.
Yeah, horns that can look like hair.
Horned enemies in there aside from that are demons.
Surprisingly, yeah. There's Ganon, there's, I can't think of another one off the top of my head.
It's just like, we have the...
There's the Bokoblins and the
We have the
Moblins,
Lionels, but, they're not demons. I'm sure that they feel like it.
But one thing about Chancellor Cole is, when Batrox becomes a human, his horns become hair. And when Chancellor Cole becomes a demon, his hair becomes horns. They seem to be the same species.
Yeah, but one takes place way at the end of the timeline, and the other one is way at the beginning.
Yeah, so somehow this weird species of demons has just been living in the shadows, I guess.
Or maybe there's like only able to have one at a time.
Or maybe all humans can become demons, and that's what they look like.
To be fair, he still looks very demonic, even as a person. He pretty much just loses his horns and wings.
Yeah, I could go all day on why Skyloft cannot be the only civilization in Skyward Sword, but we're gonna move on. What happened to the Loftwings after Skyward Sword?
So this is kind of the interesting part here, because Loftwings by far are one of the most useful things about being in the sky. Also, it's pretty much the only way to live in the sky. If you don't have a Loftwing, you're not moving to other islands unless you're Beetle. Beetle never got a Loftwing, did he?
No, he did not.
What a
and if
chump.
he did,
Why
and if he did, we never
didn't
see him.
That's a question for another day. Anyway, so one theory is like the Loftwings evolving to the Rito, which would, explain why they still have like the bird parts. Like they're still birdie, but they still have that connection to humanity. However, by the time Minish Cap happens, they're never seen again. Which would mean they would be completely not there in between here and like Breath of the Wild, if you want to go that far and say that's why they're more bird than man, or the Wind Waker. However, they came from the Zora in the Wind Waker.
It's never officially confirmed that they came from the Zora. Very strongly hinted, but never officially confirmed. It is officially confirmed, I think, that the Koroks came from the Kokiri, but not the Zora and the Rito.
So it's possible they could have evolved, but then you have the big question mark of what happens in the middle, which, there's too much time in the middle to say, oh yeah, this is fine.
Maybe the Rito are just flying really high up for the rest of the timeline.
The Rito / Loftwings.
Yeah,
they just continue to
spend
evolve
their
through
entire
the Wind Waker
evolutionary
and then into Breath of the Wild.
They spend their entire evolutionary period just flying in the sky, and once they're Rito, they finally land on the ground and say, hey, we exist.
But there's another theory that the Loftwings die when they're not near the Triforce, because there is a formal ceremony that makes them appear when a human is of age, unless they're Beetle, in Skyloft.
Maybe Beetle had his ceremony, but just no one showed up.
And he's like, I can live with this. He was the Groose before Groose.
They stood there for like an hour, and then the guy running the ceremony said, sorry, kid.
But anyway, there's a formal ceremony that makes them appear, and there's always a 1-to-1 ratio of Loftwing to people when this happens. And so it could be assumed that it is using Hylia's power, or maybe even the Triforce by some extension, since it is technically in the goddess statue. And so by one power or another, it creates the Loftwings. It doesn't just call them. it makes them, based on that human's personalities, intentions, and spirit, which is why they come in different colors, attitudes, and always know where their person is and if their person needs their help. And Link can sense his bird, which would imply that there is some spiritual connection between a Loftwing and its person. Before we're off of the they coming from the Triforce, by extension, if they're created by the Triforce, it might mean that they can't breed, which is why we always have this 1-to-1 ratio going on. Once the humans leave and die off, or because the ceremony can no longer happen because it goes down to the surface, those are the final Loftwings, and when they die, it's done. There's no more Loftwings.
We never see Loftwing eggs or anything of that sort, so I think it's a very strong possibility that they just can't breed.
The other thing is we don't know how long they live. It's probably the lifespan of the person, because again, they have that spiritual connection to them. And so I wouldn't doubt it if you die, the Loftwing would die too.
Alright, now that we've talked about the Loftwing's death, let's move on to a lighter topic, death in general in Skyloft. We know at least 16 people have died in Skyloft.
I didn't count those graves, but I think there's at least 16 of them.
Considering Skyloft has been a thing for hundreds of thousands of years, I think 16 might be a little bit on the low estimate of people who have died so far. So we have a theory. Our strongest theory is that only the most important people get to be buried in Skyloft. The rest just get thrown off a cliff, or I don't know, maybe they're a secret ingredient in pumpkin soup or something. You gotta eat something in Skyloft, and so far we've only seen pumpkins and potions.
We don't even know where how the potions are made. Probably from pumpkins.
Everything tastes like pumpkins in Skyloft. It was a revolutionary day when Long Milk was invented.
Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Sorry about my audio. It'll be better next time, and stay tuned for the next episode. Goodbye.